South China Sea, early 1942. The darkness of the Pacific is not absolute. It is broken by a pale moon and the white wake of an enemy ship. Aboard the USS Trout, the target is in sight. A Japanese destroyer, arrogantly silhouetted against the horizon. The firing solution is perfect. The order is given. A trail of bubbles cuts through the water toward the enemy hull. 6 meters of steel, carrying 500 kilograms of Torpex explosive, a weapon designed to be infallible. On the Japanese ship, they see the wake. But there is no panic, just curiosity. The Torpedo, the most expensive and sophisticated weapon in the US Navy, passes harmlessly beneath the ship. So deep that not even the magnetic influence of thousands of tons of steel can activate it. The Japanese crew laughs, a useless ghost in the depths. What they didn't know was that day they were witnessing not a failure but the painful birth of their own demise. It was called the Mark 14. In the corridors of the Navy's Bureau of Ordnance, it was considered Neptune's spear, an engineering marvel of the 1930s. It wasn't just a projectile, it was a complex machine with a miniature steam engine and a gyroscopic brain. But its true magic lay in its detonator, the Mark 6, a double device designed to be foolproof. First, the standard contact detonator, a direct hit, an explosion. Simple. But the Mark 14 had a secret, a magnetic influence detonator designed to sense the magnetic field of a ship's hull and explode underneath it, shattering its keel where the armor was weakest, an instant and catastrophic death. The problem? It was born during the Great Depression. For American submariners at the beginning of the war, reality was a nightmare. They were the tip of the spear, hunting in the most dangerous waters on the planet. But their spear was broken. Report after report reached the Pacific Command, a symphony of frustration. USS Sea Dragon, 2 direct hits, no detonation. USS Skipjack, torpedo ran deep, passed under target. USS Tambor, premature detonation, position compromised. The commanders, men who risked everything on every patrol, were blamed. The Bureau of Ordnance insisted the weapon was perfect. The operators were at fault. Morale plummeted. With each defective torpedo, confidence in leadership and technology waned a little more. The enemy seemed to be right. America's most feared weapon was a joke. But at Pearl Harbor, one man decided to listen to his commanders. Vice Admiral Charles Swede Lockwood, commander of the Pacific Submarine Force, was tired of Washington's excuses. If the Bureau wouldn't prove the weapon worked, he would prove it didn't work. He authorized a series of illegal tests, directly defying the Bureau of Ordnance. First, the depth test. Lockwood ordered a submarine to fire torpedoes at a giant fishing net. The result was shocking. The Mark 14 ran on average 10 feet deeper than designed. With the depth corrected, the torpedoes began to hit their targets. But now the second problem became evident. They hit and didn't explode. In a dramatic test, Lockwood ordered torpedoes without warheads fired at a cliff. They came back dented. The firing pin was too fragile and bent on impact. The solution came not from a cutting-edge laboratory, but from battlefield ingenuity. Mechanics at Pearl Harbor used steel from downed Japanese aircraft propellers to forge new, stronger firing pins. The Mark 14, the broken weapon, was repaired not through bureaucracy, but through disobedience and pragmatism. From a symbol of failure, it became a testament to the tenacity of the common soldier. And then, all hell broke loose in the Pacific. From mid-1943, with torpedoes finally working, the American submarine force became the most lethal weapon of World War II, ton for ton. The laughter on the Japanese decks was replaced by a terrified silence. Reports from Japanese commanders began to speak of a new phantom threat, torpedoes that no longer missed, impacts that split ships in half. An Imperial Merchant Marine officer wrote, "We do not see them, we do not hear them. We feel only the shock, the sound of steel breaking. The sea that was our home has become our tomb." The enemy's perception, it changed from contempt to dread. Every shadow beneath the waves was an American steel coffin. Every sonar ping was a death sentence. The numbers were apocalyptic. The submarine force, which represented less than 2% of the US Navy, was responsible for 55% of all Japanese naval losses. more than 1,100 merchant ships, tankers, and troop transports. 5.3 million tons of steel sent to the bottom of the sea. This was no longer just a torpedo, it had become a doctrine, the doctrine of strangulation. Japan, an island nation, depended on the sea for oil, rubber, and food. American submarines, armed with their now lethal Mark 14s, severed these vital arteries one by one. It was the triumph of American pragmatism over Japanese industrial rigidity. The Japanese captain no longer laughed. Now he listened. He listened to the silence between the sonar pings, knowing that was where death lived. They laughed when they heard the first harmless whisper. They stopped laughing when they realized that each future whisper was the harbinger of underwater thunder. The story of the Mark 14 is not about a perfect weapon, but about the imperfection, frustration, and courage of men who refuse to accept failure. They transformed naval engineering's greatest embarrassment into its most decisive instrument of victory. The silence spoke, and the Pacific was never again a safe haven.